What's up, guys? Welcome back. Glad you're here. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at a very special release. That's right, what deck are we speaking of? We're going to be looking at the new V.2 first playing cards by Chris Ramsay. That's right, so buckle in your seatbelts, because we're going there. Let's go. The Chris Ramsay first playing cards, V2s, are coming off of the success of the first edition, no pun intended, of the V1 first playing cards that came out about a year ago and sold out instantly through pre-order in a matter of an hour or less. Chris was no fool this time around and said, this time there's going to be no 9-month wait. No, we're going to do it different. So he did, and he didn't announce them until the cards were pretty much printed and ready to ship out. The front of the tuck case is this all black matte tuck box, and it has this very nice gold foil cigar band wrapping around just like we saw on the V1 edition of this deck. But this time, like I said, it is in black instead of white, and it still has that very nice dark, bold black first in that debossed font along the front. There is nothing along the sides of both of the tuck case. It is just that same cigar band that wraps entirely around the whole front, side, and back of the tuck. And the same goes for the back side as well. The bottom of the tuck case has ad copy by First Playing Cards Company and Chris Ramsay. There is no tuck seal, but on the inner tuck flap, there is Chris Ramsay's logo in gold letterpress. Just like before on the V1s, like I said earlier, this deck does follow exactly to a T. You will see once again that nice repeated gold stamp in the inner of the tucks. Alright, this deck is printed by the United States Playing Card Company on their thin crushed premium stock. It does have a traditional cut as well as an air cushion emboss. This deck is not marked, and it does come in a Pneumatica stack. Alright, this time around we see a couple noticeable differences. The first one is the beautiful gold foil border that wraps around the entirety of the card, making this deck pop even more so when you're doing fan spreads and other flourishes. The other noticeable difference is where we saw before, the fainted gray and white inner workings of this card now is a black with white inner workings, still with that very nice repeated pattern of that CR, making that two-way design pop even more. Alright, so with this deck you're going to receive 4 extra cards. This time around you're going to receive, the first card is going to be this metallic gold ink colored snake or serpent that, as you all know, is a little bit of Chris Ramsay's logo if you're familiar. The next card you're going to receive is very familiar. Just like in the V1s, you're going to receive a duplicate 4 of spades that is very cool for magic tricks and other effects. The other 2 cards you're going to receive are duplicate and original jokers. These are also very different from the V1s. This time around you have the very beautiful and enlarged first playing card stamp that we see repeat itself on the inner part of the tuck as well as the sides of the deck itself. And you also have Joker in each of the opposite corners. This deck does have standard pips and indices as well as courts for the most part. The number cards are all pretty standard, as you can see, and we'll get to the courts here in a second. This deck is still great for Magic, gameplay, and cardistry. So as I said before, as the number cards were concerned, the courts are also pretty standard, just with a slight recoloring. Also, there are slight differences from the V1 courts to these now. As you can see, these ones are a lot more darker than the V1s. He chose to still use the same colorway as far as the blacks, golds, and grays. But like I said, the V1s were more ghost-like and more faint. This time around, he chose to go more darker. Alright, just like the court cards and the number cards, the aces are pretty much standard as well until you get to the very familiar ace of spades, which is the more prominent ace. This ace is pretty much identical to the V1 ace, which you have the black enlarged pip in the center with the first playing card stamp in that. Alright, so what do I give this deck? I give it a 5 out of 5. I can't. I was gonna give it a 4 out of 5 at first, and here's the thing. I just want to clarify this real quick. This is my second time doing this part of the video, and I'm gonna tell you why. I originally was gonna give it a 4, 3.5, 4. And this is also, some information for you guys at home as well. If you purchase this deck, play with the deck a little bit, warm it up, get it moving, things like that, before you judge the deck. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, when I first took it out the box, this thing was not spreading well. It was very clumpy almost. Not clumpy. I don't even know what to call it. Not consistent whatsoever on any kind of flourishes except a fan, which, thumb fans are different. Yeah, it's nothing. You can take a bad deck and get a perfect fan almost 9 out of 10 times. But get the deck warm, and once I did that, this thing's jamming. I tell you, this is a good deck. I hands down. And I didn't expect anything other, truthfully. Chris Ramsay is very, 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 very serious and a perfectionist when it comes to anything that he puts out. He doesn't half-ass anything, and I do respect that. And all you guys out there thinking that I hate Chris and all this, come on, please stop. I know a couple of you guys got at me about the NXS Memento Mori review I did. Look, there's a difference between truth and there's a difference between lies. There's a difference between opinions. Everybody can have their own opinions, so let's just leave that where it's at. But like I said, other than that, as far as the design goes, I really enjoyed it. I knew it was going to be great the minute I seen the sneak peek of it. And yeah, I can't knock it. I love all the gold in this. I really enjoyed the jokers this time about it. The court cards, changed up a little bit. I know a lot of people judge this deck before they had a chance to really see it, and that was the one thing that I knew was you cannot do. A lot of people were like, oh my god, he didn't change anything about it, but yet he changed quite a bit. He changed the jokers. The only thing that's really the same is the main design in the duplicate card. He changed the court cards up. Of course the number cards are the same, but he changed the design. He added more gold. The jokers are different. The ad card, instead of the blank facer, which is one of the other things that was kind of weird to me. I mean, listen, I like the card, the snake, the serpent. I'm a snake fan. I love snakes, but I think that could have been utilized. But that's just me, my opinion. Once again, my opinion. I think that, once again, a blank face card would have been better utilized in that sense, especially if this deck is aimed towards magicians. Like I said, besides that being part of his logo, I'm not really sure what the significance was in that, but hey, it's not my deck to judge. I'm just reviewing it, and like I said, it's a great deck. I can't lie. I like that he did the black tuck. I do remember him talking about doing, like a limited edition. Dan and Dave talked about he should do like only a couple hundred of these, but here's the thing, that's hard to do. And I'm glad he didn't make them limited, even though they were kind of limited. He put 30,000 of these out to the world and they sold in 13 hours. I mean, that's a lot of money. You do the math, we're talking about $500,000. It's like 450 grand. So, you know, we're talking about a side 52 cards mint numbers. You know what I mean? He could have sold 100,000 of these decks in probably 2 days. So I give him credit for that. So yeah, great deck of cards. Like I said, these are totally unavailable. If you did not get them the day they came out, like I said, you had 13 hours to get them. If you didn't buy them in those 13 hours, sorry. I picked up 2 this time, and I'm keeping 1 sealed just like I did with the V1. So I now have a V1 and a V2 completely sealed, and I'll never open them. So yeah, definitely collector items. So like I said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you enjoyed this review as much as I enjoyed doing it for you, consider hitting that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you beautiful people on the next one.